Welcome, everyone. I am so thrilled to welcome each of you to today's really wonderful program because we have an extraordinary guest with us and we have our wonderful, thank goodness, every time guest with us. So the subject of today's show is that physical therapists, healers, and doctors love Lifewave patches, as do the rest of us. Every one of us who has seen results or our friends or family have seen results. We love it. And so today I am really grateful and thrilled that our special guest, Ye, is a very successful, skilled, and experienced physical therapist. I have wanted to have a physical therapist on this show since last July when I first put the patches on, because I knew that that was going to be an area where so many people's lives would be changed. So welcome, Julian.
Hi, Susan. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here and be able to share a little bit about my experience.
Beautiful. So let me tell you about his really stellar background. The specialties are that he is a board certified physical therapist and a specialist in orthopedics. His certifications include ASTEM, Nike Golf, and G360 Performance. And Julian is also a fellow of Applied Functional Science and Functional Manual Reaction. So that tells you that he knows what he's talking about. When he is going to tell you later what he's seen with Lifewave patches, believe me, he knows what it is to have patients in pain who are suffering. He knows what it is now to have patients who, because of the miracle of Lifewave patches, don't need to suffer anymore. And our second guest, who's really the first guest of our heart, because Marcy is the one who told really all of us about Lifewave, directly or indirectly. And welcome, Marcy.
Thank you. It's so great to be here today, Susan. What an honor to be with Julian, who owns Focus PT. We're going to learn a lot, I'm sure, today.
Yes, absolutely. And Marcy is the most successful United States distributor in Lifewave. You know, we're in 100 countries, by the way. So we're not just here. And Marcy and I and many of us have distributors in other countries as well, and so can each of you. And Marcy is a direct marketing expert. She has learned about and been very successful in direct marketing for many years. And that's why when she tells you what works, listen, do what she tells you, because she's tried it, she's tested it, she's proven it. It's just like, you know, if Julian tells you something about your body, do it, believe him, because he's an expert in that. This is the key to having an easy, successful life. So welcome each of you who are watching today and our fabulous guests. I'm going to go right to the first question for you, Julian. So this is really key. You've got 4 phases of healing that you teach your patients. And I'd love you to tell them to us today and also tie them into how the Lifewave patches have made a difference.
Yes, Susan. Okay. So 4 phases of healing that I talk about with our patients, our clients on a regular basis are: 1, there's the inflammation and pain stage, okay, which is normal. We need that to heal. The second stage is range of motion, flexibility, and strength, which we want to increase. Third phase is the return to normal with normal function, normal activities. We want to be able to get there. And the fourth phase is to be able to prevent injury from happening again. And actually, when you and I were speaking the other day, you mentioned one that I kind of liked, is a fifth phase, which would be the phase of setting and reaching new goals, which is fantastic, a nice addition to those 4 phases. Now, the cool thing about the patches, what I've been seeing here in the last 6-8 weeks or so that I've been using them, I've been using them with our clients, and it really, really helps us with phase 1, which gives us the opportunity to move to the other phases faster. When people come to see us, they're in pain. They want help. And we can do that for them. And now with the patches, we can get them out of pain and inflammation faster, which then allows us to be able to get that range of motion, that flexibility, that strength, and of course, the ultimate goal of getting them back to normal.
What I am so thrilled about, and Marcy, you keep reinforcing this, is each month we use the patches, the X39 and the Eon together primarily. It's so essential because the inventor, David Schmidt, who is a bona fide genius, reminds us that we need to use the patches 1 month for every 10 years we've been alive so that we see a really profound change. And I will be coming up on my 1-year anniversary with the patches on July 2nd. And I can tell you that every month I see something remarkable. And you do too, Marcy, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, question number 2 for you, Julian. You told me something that really stunned me in your mountain biking experiences, those 2 days in a row. Would you tell us all about that, please?
Sure, I'd love to tell you about that. So I love to mountain bike, and I get to do it quite often, fortunately, usually on the weekends. And what I started doing for myself, being kind of more into the science, wanting to see what this actually does for you, is I was testing, does this really help? Do these patches really help you? Fortunately, I'm blessed and I don't have any pain, but like everybody with endurance type activities, you kind of get tired, you wear down a little bit. So what I did in order to test it is I often go on longer rides, and I went on a 27-mile ride. And like usual, you feel tired afterwards, you're fatigued that day. But my test was, let's see what happens if I use the patch on the following day and go on another ride. So what I did that weekend is I did that 27-mile ride on day 1 and no patch. And day 2, I went ahead and put the patch on, and I went on another ride on the road bike, and I did 52 miles that day on the road. And when I got back in the rest of the day, I actually had more energy on day 2 than I had on day 1. So that was kind of cool. And, I figured, this just a little fluke, but I've since then repeated it 2 more times, and I found similar results that the day that I use the patch when I ride, actually have a better recovery than the previous days.
That is really thrilling. And I find the same thing in my, no comparison to what you're doing, but I swim laps almost every day. I was swimming 66 laps before I started getting on the patches, and I was exhausted afterwards. Now I swim 70 laps a day and I'm not tired at all. I mean, literally not tired at all. And for people who are in my age group, just to let you know, I heard that David Schmidt, who's about, 50 something, maybe, Marcy? Okay.
58.
He uses 2 sets of energy patches a day. Now I'm 22 years older than 50. So I said, well, that sounds like a plan for me. So I now put 2 sets of patches on, jump in the pool, go swimming, come back, and I am wide awake and alert and able to work all day. That is a remarkable thing. And for people who are older, if you have a lot of energy, you feel happy and hopeful. You can focus on your goals and what you want to do with your life. If you don't have energy and you're older, it is very, very challenging to do what works for your life and plan a great life and all the things that Julian's talking about. So now we're going to talk about patches for a few minutes. So Marcy, today we want to talk about the X39, the Eon, and the Lifewave, because the focus of today's show is about eliminating pain and creating healing.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to tell you how the technology works. And in fact, when I talked to Julian, because Julian is a physical therapist. He owns Focus Physical Therapy in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. And we have been friends for a decade. And he's one of the best therapists I know in South Orange County, California. So when I thought about him, I thought he may be interested in this solution for his patients. The stem cell patch to activate stem cells, Eon to stop inflammation, and Icewave that cuts the pain, why X39 and Eon is healing. And so when I went to Julian's office to talk to him, I talked to him about that 4-patch system for his patients, because I knew that if he popped a patient with that 4-patch system, and when I mean pop a patient, patch on a patient, on the 4-patch system, I knew that if he popped their shoulder or their knee or their lower back, that I was pretty sure in that time being in clinic, the pain would go away substantially. I was thinking, and you'll have to ask Julian what really happened, because obviously he's a tester. I was thinking, I bet, yes, 70% of his patients would, right before they even left the clinic, notice something. So I'm going to tell you what I told him, and then we'll find out when Susan tells us what really happened. So this is the stem cell patch, and it's the X39. And it looks like this. When you look inside, it is made out of organic crystal from amino acids, salt, and water. And it's like wearable light. Okay, think about the sun. When you're out in the sun and you go out into the light, you have a light wave called ultraviolet light reflect into your skin, and it elevates your vitamin D. Think about this as wearable light. Like we actually are the sun. Heat comes off our body, which is the same as a low level light. It's just true. If you've ever heard of night goggles or night vision, they're seeing the light or the heat coming off your body. So think about it. We are created of light. So when you put a patch on like this, you are putting it on. I know it looks like a Band-Aid, but it hits the heat of your skin, and it reflects a longer light wave, and it elevates a compound called, or a peptide called GHK copper peptide. And when that gets activated, then your stem cells start to march again. They start to work again. They make more of them, and they reset them to a younger, healthier state. Why is that important? Well, I told Julian this. I said, Julian, when you are born with regular cells that turn into your knee cartilage, your spine, your lower back, your shoulder blade. And you also are born with these blank pluripotent stem cells. They have the unique ability to travel and turn into whatever your body needs for repair. That's why your children, your grandchildren, when they, fall out of a swing or trip or bruise themselves, they repair in, an hour. Where my dad, who's 85, he's walking around the loop with a walker now, because he knows if he falls on that hip, it may never repair because his stem cells don't work. So what Julian was so excited about is that, he's been researching stem cells. He knows that injections cost 10 grand a pop. The pain doctors are all starting to talk stem cell injections now. You could ask Julian about that, but they're expensive. They only activate your stem cells once. They're not your own stem cells. They don't keep activating on their own. And you got tons of inflammation that eats the stem cells that aren't activating anymore. So it's a pretty expensive therapy for what you get. And so he knew that. And that's why he picked up the phone Saturday when I called him, right? Because it was stem cell. And so what really was going on is those stem cells are now moving in Julian's body to turn into what he needs so he can recover from 57-mile bike ride. They are now moving into the patients he's working on and helping to repair whatever the issue is in the lower back, the shoulder. He can talk about his father. Like, I'm sure he'll give some testimonials about that. But that's the technology. That's how it works. And you do wear it 12 hours on to activate and repair, and then you throw it away and you give your body 12 hours off. I don't care if your 12 hours on is below the back of your neck, underneath your belly button, any spot will do. For Julian, he's having his patients pop the pain spot with this, okay? So it's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. The only reason that's important is because this is a signal, it's a light signal, and it must be on and off every 12 hours or your body gets used to the signal and it doesn't work anymore. So I don't care if you pop your spot during the day for 12 hours or pop your spot at night for 12 hours. That doesn't matter, but you got to have 12 hours off. So now that you understand the basic technology, let's talk about Eon. So this is what I told Julian to use with X39. Same concept. Eon looks exactly the same, but this reflects back a light wave that reduces inflammation. So now you got two of your patches that you're popping your spot with, right? And then we have Icewave. And Icewave is a 2-patch system that just takes care of pain. And so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. You put the brown spot on the pain area. You put the white spot about 2 to 3 inches away. And so now, you ready for this? Julian basically pops the spot with a 4-patch system. And that, the Icewave takes care of the pain in the connective tissue. That's where pain lies, okay? It calms the nervous system. That's so important for things like arthritis or stenosis or any of that nervy stuff, okay? It calms that. Eon stops inflammation and it reduces stress. I call Eon it's just the chill out patch. It calms everything down as well. And then X39 is the pop for the repair. That's 3rd generation technology. That's awakening the stem cells to do the work. So once again, X39 and Eon are doing the repair, while Icewave takes the pain away as the repair happens. And that's what Julian's been doing. So Susan, back to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And almost all of the people who are my friends and family and their friends and family, including doctors and a physical therapist and healer, etc., were excited because of pain elimination. Same thing. And every single person who I work with personally has used one or more of the 7 pain relief protocols that I've discovered and which I sent to you, Julian, and I'm sure you're using. And so any of you who watch this show, whenever you watch this show, now live or when it's up on my YouTube channel, you'll see my email address. If you want these pain relief protocols, just send me an email. I'll be delighted to send them to you. Only via email though, because it's a long document. And we just see again and again and again. And you're going to tell us now, Julian, a few examples you've got. You have an example of the Achilles heel, and you also have the example of the shoulder. If you would tell us, please.
Yes, Susan, thank you. Yes, so there are 2 different clients that came to mind early on. And one was a lady by the name of Mary. And Mary had an Achilles injury where she has some tears, not complete, but tears where she has been asked and told by her physician that the only way to repair it is to have surgery, to take care of it. She doesn't want to have surgery. Surgery is not what she wants, likes, or, nobody wants to have surgery. So when she was in the office, we were working on something else. I said, hey, I've got these patches. And like Marcy was saying, I've been using that pain and repair protocol of the 4, the Icewave, the Eon, and the X39, just like she said, that brown one right over the sorest point that they have. And the other ones in the vicinity around it is what has been working best with the clients and patients that I've worked with. But so Mary said, go for it. And so we tried it. We popped her, as Marcy would say, and put them on there. And next time I saw her, she said, you won't believe it, but I slept better and my pain is 25% reduced. 25% reduced for somebody who has had chronic pain. If any of you guys have it, is huge. I don't care if the pain is your Achilles, your neck, your back, your shoulder, whatever it is, it's huge. So that was tremendous. And that was a big aha moment for me. I said, okay, maybe there's something to these. Heather was a lady that I used it on her shoulder. She was actually here with her mom. She brought her mom. Her mom had some injuries, so we were working with her, and she stopped by and she said, "Oh, I've got this pain in my shoulder. I haven't slept in 3 days. It's been killing me." So I told her, "Hey, I've got these patches. You want to try them?" So we did the same thing for her. Found the source point, put that brown one 2 to 3 inches away, put the other one, threw in the inflammation with the Aeon, and then the X39 to stimulate those stem cells, the activation. And she texted me the next day, "This is kind of weird, but I didn't have any pain last night. And this morning, the lumps are even down. There's even less of them." So that to me were two huge moments that went, okay, there's something to this and we need to do more of it.
That's really beautiful. And you know, Julie and I had told you, and I've told Marcy, that when I injured my shoulder from swimming, 3 chiropractors couldn't make the pain go away. 3 very skilled, well-known, well-regarded chiropractors. The injury was obviously very, very serious. The spasm stopped, but the pain was there. And I had a whole drawer full of patches. And I said, there must be an answer here. I've got to have an answer. I was freaking out. The thought of having chronic pain was unacceptable. And it should be unacceptable. And so I have a slightly different thing for people who have pain all day long and pain at night. Sometimes it's beneficial to use the X39 and the Aeon during the day. And what I did was I put the second Aeon on my shoulder. The first was already there. And 5 or so minutes after the second Aeon was on my shoulder, with the 2 Aeons touching, not overlapping, I had 0 pain. 0 pain after being in agony and freaking out quietly, so nobody could tell, but I was freaking out. And then because you need to take the patches off after 12 hours, I use the ice waves at night to make sure. And so sometimes that's better for people who they feel great during the day with the patches on, but then they can't sleep at night because we tell them you got to take the patches off. So there are these 7 pain relief protocols, and you want to find the one that's for you. You want to find the one that totally eliminates pain. That's what the goal is here. That's what's available. Okay, so the next question is, I know, Julian, your motto, which is Marcy's motto and my motto, ironically, is never give up. You know, never give up. So let's talk some more. Let me hear some more, either examples of people you've already worked with or people you're now planning to work with because they have chronic problems that you now realize can be eliminated with patches. So anything along those lines.
Sure, Susan, thank you. Yes, never give up is hugely important. And a lot of times when we see people, some of them do feel like giving up. So with the patch, and you know, an example would be Paula. Paula is someone who's been dealing with chronic migraine headaches since she was 10 years old. She's in her mid-60s. She's taken all sorts of medications, seen all kinds of specialists, just all over the place. And she finally agreed to go ahead and test it, to put it on. And we used the patches on her. And the next morning, she told me she woke up without a headache. No headache. Slept through the night, didn't have a headache in the morning without medication. Okay? She usually takes medication every day. So it's pretty amazing. Now, of course, I want to help those that are dear to me, and my dad comes to mind because he has had an 8-millimeter bulge in his low back. Some sciatic symptoms radiate down and pain in his knee, which makes it difficult for him to walk. And he loves to walk. He loves to walk. He loves to walk down to the beach, just really enjoys it. So the fact that he had to decrease his walking was bothering me. Obviously, it bothered him more than me, but I wanted to make sure that we could see if we could help him. So I said, why not try these patches? We have these patches. Let's try it on him as well. So we put it on him, and he's been using them for a week, or last Saturday was for a week. And when I saw him, he was able to increase his walking by 50% and decreased his pain by 30% at the end of the walk. So he went that little 20-minute walk that he finished with like a 7 out of 10 pain. He came out of it, was able to walk 30 minutes and only had 4 to 5 pain on there, which was tremendous. And that's after the week. That's after using for the week. So I'm expecting to see further progress as he continues to use them down the road here. And we hadn't talked about this one, but this is just today, actually about an hour and a half ago, had a patient come to me that I've seen for years. And she's had multiple surgeries in her spine where they've left her hunched over, heads forward, just chronic pain all the time. And it's sad when you can't, you can help certain things and then there's certain things you can't. So again, I just went, hey, let's try this out on you. Tried it out on her, and she was able to reduce her pain significantly. So much so, she told me today she usually takes 1.5 Percocet a day, which is a lower dose, but she takes 3 half pills a day of Percocet. Since she's been using the patches, she's been able to cut it down by a half. So 33% less use of Percocet with less overall pain. So what makes me excited about these patches and using them with our clients is you're taking people who have been in pain for a long period of time. It's not just somebody who just had a little sprain or this, which it can help them as well. I've used it on my daughter after she injured her shoulder with basketball, but you're taking people who have been suffering for long periods of time. Their medication's not helping, they're not sure what to do, and they're able to get relief. So to be able to provide somebody with relief is what we as physical therapists want. We want to provide relief so we can take you through the next phase and help you get back to normal, doing the things you love to do. And the patches have been able to expedite that for us, getting people out of pain more quickly, and more importantly, without medication, injections, or surgery. Right? One of the big things, we don't want medications. They come with side effects. Surgeries, you can never undo them. And injections have side effects as well. So when we're looking at something that provides light, non-invasive, that can reduce pain, and more importantly, stimulate and activate those stem cells to cause repair of the things that have been injured, it's fantastic to me. So thank you, Marcy, for the introduction to it. And Susan, thank you for letting me be here and share a little bit about what we do.
It is, so valuable to hear you say this. I want to add that one of the people in my downline who happens to be a physical therapist in Florida introduced me to one of her patients whose dog had an excruciating spinal diagnosis. And Louis was not running anymore, and running is Louis's favorite thing to do. So if you go to my YouTube channel where all these shows exist, and there's a Lifewave playlist that I've added, you'll see Louis the dog running around. He doesn't know he's wearing patches. He doesn't know they're supposed to make him pain-free. He just knows he feels better. He just knows he's able to have the full use of his legs and his body as he did before. And it took about a week using the X39 and the Eon every single day. And suddenly his owner was just, ecstatic, as you can imagine. And she took this little video for us. And also the physical therapist in Florida, her own son had been suffering from excruciating migraines for a long time. I mean, excruciating. The worst kind of migraine symptoms one could hear. She found that if she puts the Lifewave on his head, so the tan one on the worst pain spot, which is on one of his temples, the other one on the other temple, and in 10 minutes, this young man who had been suffering and missing school and missing out on life, missing out on fun, he's able to go right to sleep. And he wakes up a couple of hours later and he feels like himself again. And she said the other part is the frequency of migraines has diminished and diminished and diminished, because we're talking about healing. Whatever there is that the stem cell, so they're pluripotent, needs to heal, is obviously being healed. And maybe, Marcy, you have a story. I noticed we have a little time. You must have a number of stories you'd love to share with us.
Well, I have one for myself personally. This is a news story. So I had a little surgery a few weeks ago on my core, on my abdomen. It was kind of a deep surgery and deep into the, I don't know, muscle, like deep, right? And after the surgery, my whole core was in quite a bit of pain and spasm. And I'm like, oh my God, like, is this what it's like to be in pain and spasm? Because I've had other things happen in my life, but not quite like this, right? In this kind of way. And I was thinking to myself, well, this got to stop. And I've never really been an Icewave user because I really never had a reason. I'm like, where's that Icewave? I literally sat on my chair. I put the brown part right on the core spasm, the white about 2-3 inches away. And then I pummeled a couple X39, a couple Eon, I believe. I think that's about what I did. And literally, I just sat in my chair as the pain and spasms went away. And then I went to bed. And I mean, this was just a couple of weeks ago, right? And so as it relates to pain, to spasms, to repair, to nervous systems that just need to relax, like this 4-patch system is the bomb. And it's just the truth. So, yeah.
And it's so interesting when you say that in the 4-patch system, that when I was so scared about the shoulder pain, when I put that first Eon on, I felt more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the patch.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do self-soothing things all day long if I need them. So I was doing all that, and I'm a professional in self-soothing. So it wasn't any additional skill or tool. It was literally the minute that I put the first Eon patch on the pain center that I started to relax. And then, as I said, the second one made all the pain go away. And I've seen this again and again with the 4-patch system, with the 2 Eons, the X39, and also the Icewave. So
yeah, no, it's funny, Susan, because it's exactly what happened to me. I wasn't used to what was happening to me a few weeks ago. And the anxiety of this new pain that happened was like, this is really not good. And is this going to go away on its own? And you start like having this anxiety, not just in the spot, but it rolls right up and out of your brain almost, like kind of post-traumatic stress. Like I understand what people who have chronic pain must go through, because in a moment I was like, boy, if this turns chronic, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? That's that. And then I patched myself and I'm like, I'm not in trouble anymore. I'm okay. Right.
It's fascinating that you say this, because
Yes.
Marcy and I have been on a very long healing journey in our lives.
Yes.
And we are incredibly and perfectly healthy now, which is not only a miracle, but truly an answer to prayers, yours and mine, because we've spoken about it.
Yes.
And often when I speak to people and tell them about Lifewave, I have to get them from hopelessness up to the possibility of hope. That's a lot of what these Zoom events that you and I do, Marcy, with our guests are about, because most of our guests are experts in some area of health and wellness, which happens to be all three of, us, Julian and Marcy and me. That's our favorite topic. If you have health, you have a life. If you're pain-free, you have a life. If you're not, we can show you how to get that. And so, anybody who's watching, who's feeling hopeless about this, if you have parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, neighbors who feel hopeless, I dare them to feel hopeless after they speak to any of the three of us. Yes,
and I would say this, Susan, you know, these patches are also for people who are chronic. These patches are for people who are chronic and like may get better, but may still get chronic, and may get better and still get chronic. I want you all to know that health is a health journey. And you know, and sometimes people are like, oh, I was so bad and now I'm perfect. And someone that's really chronic is like, that gets them almost depressed. But what if I told you this? What if I told you you could be healthy and chronic at the same time? What if that's okay too? Do you understand that this is for all of us, no matter where you are on your healing journey? Okay. It's
so
true.
magnificent. And it's and the motto, the three of us share the motto, never give up.
Never give up.
I was praying for a miracle 3 years ago to de-age me, to de-age my brain, to de-age my body, and dare I say, to de-age my skin and my hair. And when Carol Lazar put some patches on me in July 2nd last year, because I trust Carol and she looked fabulous, and she's, you know, age appropriate for me. So it's not like some kid says, oh, this is going to be great for you. I knew that if she looked that great and felt that great, there was a high probability this could be my answer to prayers. And that's exactly what it's been. And that's what it can be for every one of you. It really can. So I want to thank you, Julian, for being so gracious and such a spectacular guest. I hope you come back soon.
I would love to come back and be able to share a little bit more about it. And, you know, like you said, it is an amazing product that is helping so many people. It just gives us the opportunity. And like Marcy was saying, sometimes a chronic state, with this, it gives you the opportunity to move beyond, to be able to go to that next phase of healing where you haven't been able to go, without side effects, with the ability, which is key, no side effects, because you don't want to take something that then causes something else. You know, you feel good from one thing, but then you're addicted to an opioid or something like that. With this, you're able to do that without any side effects, using light. How crazy is that? Using light to be able to get better. And, you know, if you don't mind me saying too, we were talking about pain here, and that's obviously crucial. It's what I work with. But one of the things my wife also told me about, she'd had a fall. You mentioned a little bit about skin. She had a fall about 4 years ago where she split her lip open and required stitches, had issues with that. Unfortunately, the circumstances led to an urgent care doctor, which they do a fabulous job, but they're not plastic surgeons, suture it up. And they did okay. And then we had somebody else help it out. And he did well, and it helped it, but it didn't make it go away. And then down the road, they said, you can come back and get it touched up. She just kind of let life happen, never went back and did that. She'd been using the patches for about a month, and she called me up at the office. She's like, do you have more of those patches? And I said, well, why? Why do you want more of those patches? And she's like, well, remember that thing on my lip? She's like, I don't feel it as much. She's like, I feel less of it. So we looked, and sure, she's 50% down just in a month's period of time with that. And I know that has nothing to do with pain, but for her, it was something that, even though she didn't verbalize it, obviously she was aware of. And this also helped her with that. So, Marcy, thank you for introducing me to this.
You're welcome.
Susan, thank you very much for having me on the show. I would love to do this again. If you ever have, I'm available, and I'd love to share more about the benefits of the patches and the people that are being helped by it. So thank you very much.
Just thrilled to have you. And thank you, Marcy. As always, we love you so much. And I know I speak for thousands and thousands of people when I say that. So our next show is, as always, the second Thursday of the month. It is always 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and various times around the world. We'd love you to join us. We'd love you to tell your friends. And we have now, this will be the 17th show that you can watch at youtube.com/Susan Allen 2001. That's ALLAN. And we'd love you to send us emails and comments. You'll have our 3 different email addresses in the description of the show. We'd love to hear from you. And this has just been a thrilling journey that just gets better and better and better and better. So remember to ask your friend who told you about Lifewave so that you can get the information and purchase the Lifewave patches from them. And we are thrilled that you joined us for our Zoom. Thank you so much and hope to see you next month. Same time and same place.